Today I'll be coding this weather animation just with SVG and CSS. So the first thing to be done here is split it into frames. And here I'm going to take the first frame and copy its URL, and I'm going to use it as a background here in the body. So background URL, it's going to be this at 50%, no repeat. Okay, and this just doesn't look right because let's increase the height here. Here I'm going to have height 100 viewport height units, and let's also set margin 0 to get rid of. And now I'm going to style the weather container. So weather, and I'm going to give it a diameter. So this is the palette, and it's going to have a dark component and a light component. And okay, so this is going to be 14 amps, and I'm going to set the dimensions here. So width is going to be that D diameter, and the height is going to be exactly the same thing. So height, and here I'm going to have a box shadow, and this is going to be 2 pixels, 3 pixels, 15, something like that. Okay, and I want to put it in the middle, so I'm going to set display flex here, and then I'm going to have justify content the center, and it's going to be the exact same thing for align items. So yeah, now here I'm going to set a border radius, which is going to be 50%, and it doesn't exactly overlap, so let's tweak this position calc, and I'm going to add 10 pixels, and that should work. And also vertically I'm going to tweak this, but only by, I don't know, this is perfect. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it like this. And also I'm going to set a thing for path here, so no fill, none, and also it's going to have stroke current color, and let's say stroke width, it's going to be 2 pixels. And now I'm going to start working on the SVG. So here I'm going to set a dimension for the SVG. This is going to be D, and let's say 225, and the top left offset is going to be minus 0.5 of this, and I'm going to set a view box value, and this is going to be left, top, width, and height, and I'm going to join this with a space. And here I'm going to have SVG elements, and this is going to have a state class, and its view box is going to be this VB value, and I'm going to have 4 of these. And in the first one I'm going to start drawing a path. Okay, so first of all, let's do something here. About the state, I'm going to set position absolute on them. And of course, this does nothing unless I have position relative here. Okay, so also let's set a box shadow on these as well. So let's do 0, 0 and 5 pixels to make it a bit more obvious. Okay, so we can see all of them there. And now for the path, I'm going to do something like this, and I'm going to start something like minus 40, minus 15, something like that. Okie dokie, and I'm going to draw a horizontal line, something like this, and let's see it. Okay, it looks good in there. maybe a bit shorter. And now I'm going to draw an arc, and before that I'm going to create an array of radii. So this is going to be, let's say, something like 15, 10, 10. It's probably not going to work out, but we're going to tweak stuff later. And here I'm going to have an arc command, and I'm going to have the radius along the x-axis, so the one at index 0 for now, and again the one along the y-axis, and no axis rotation, so 0. And this is going to be a bit more than half a circle, so the first flag is going to be 1, it doesn't go clockwise, so second flag is 0, and then it goes, let's say it goes to the left, so minus, and it goes up again, minus. This is probably off, and yes, I need to reduce these values. Okay, and this seems slightly too big. Okay, somewhere in between. I don't like decimals, but in here it probably works pretty well. Okay, now copy paste this, and okay, this is going to be a lot higher up, so maybe like this, something, actually a bit higher, and it's going to start a bit more to the right, and it's going to be like longer. So let's see how it works like this. Maybe even more, I don't know. Okay, and this is going to be index 1, and here I'm going to have index 2, and the distance between minus 15 and 4 is 19, so 4 plus 19 is going to be 23, so that should work. And then that should be an arc, and it goes the other way here, so it's going to be like that. So the value here is going to be smaller. This one is also going to be smaller, so let's actually increase them a bit, and let's see how that works. I think the radius is too big. Let's try like this. 9.5, I don't know. Okay, this looks better. Okay, now this doesn't go up, it goes down, so it's going to be with plus, and I think those are both again going to be smaller, so like this probably, or I think that works. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that. I think it works just fine. So I'm going to set opacity 0, and I'm going to start again for the second, and I have 86 frames here in total, so I'm going to divide by 4, so that's 21, and this should be the second. Okay, that looks good. And now I'm going to draw that moon, so it's going to be something pretty similar, except I'm only going to have 2 of those. So there's going to be no horizontal line, so none of that. So there won't be 2 of them. There's not going to be this, and we need to add 2 more, so let's say 45 and 55. 45, 55. We're probably going to need to tweak them, but it doesn't really matter. So that's going to be a 3 and 4 there. And the first one is going to be okay, and it's they're both with plus, and they're obviously a lot bigger. I don't know, 60. Okay, and this is going to be a minus, I don't know, let's say something like 25 and minus 35. Let's see how that looks. Also, this goes the other way, and it's not greater than half a circle, so it should look like that, something. So let's see. This should be let's tweak this a bit too. We need a different radius here. And I think we need to slightly tweak those as well. 59. And these should be the same values here, except they're both with minus. Okay. So that looks just perfect there. I don't think I need anything else. If I do something here, the path, if I make it like 10. Okay, I need to do something else. Stroke line join is going to be round, and one more thing is going to be stroke line cap, also round, because if I take this out, I want those ends to be rounded. Okay, so that looks just fine. And now I'm going to create a star mixin to generate those stars. So I'm going to have mixin star, and I'm going to have the number of points, the number of crossings, and then I'm going to have a radius and an initial offset along the x-axis and one along the y-axis. And I'm going to set some defaults here. So for the number of points is going to be 3, and for the number of crossings is going to be 1, the default, and the default radius is going to be, I don't know, let's say 20. Then I'm going to set a base angle, and this is going to be 2 pi times the number of crossings over the number of points. Then I'm going to create an array of vertices, which is going to be empty at first. Then I'm going to loop, so I'm going to have from I0 to the number of points, and I'm going to increment for each one, and then I'm going to have a current angle, and this is going to be I times the base angle, and I want it to start from the top, so I'm going to subtract half of pi, so that's going to be like that. And then I'm going to have the x-coordinate, and that's going to be the initial offset along the x-axis, or 0, which is going to be the default, plus r times cosine of the current angle, and it's going to be similar along the y-axis, so I need to replace this with y. And here I'm going to have sine, and then I add these to the vertices, to the array of vertices, x, y, and finally I create a polygon with a class of star, and the points are going to be generated from the array of vertices. So here I add plus star 5 to I don't know, let's say something like 20, 10, minus 30. How does that work? Okay, this needs to be smaller, so something like 8. Okay, a bit too much, maybe like this. This needs to be bigger, slightly maybe. Okay, that's good. And now another star. Let's make this 28 something. Let's make this something like 15, like it smaller. Actually this needs to be over 30. 35 might be too much though. 32. Also 3 is too much there. Let's say just 1 or something like that. Okay, 32.5, and that's it. I'm not changing anything else. Okay, this is good enough. So now I'm making this opacity 0 as well, and I'm moving on to the next one. Okay, and for the next one I'm going to add 21 here to the number of the frame, and I'm going to create another mixin, which is going to be a star shaped mixin. So this is going to be a star shape, and I'm going to have a number of points. I'm going to have an outer radius, an inner radius. So this is going to be the number of points. The outer radius is going to be 50 by default. The inner radius is going to be by default, let's say 32. This is pretty much the same, except it's just pi over n, and here it goes to 2 times n, and here I'm going to have a current radius, which is going to depend on I. So inner or outer, and here is going to be current radius. So this should do it. And star shape, and this is going to be 6. Okay, this looks pretty good. I need to add an opacity here, so let's make this 0.5 so that we can see stuff. How does it? It's perfect. I'm just going to leave it like this. And now I'm going to create a radial gradient. So radial gradient, and this is going to have an ID, and I'm going to need to set gradient units, user space on use. I'm going to need to set these both to 0. So for the Y, and I'm going to generate the stops within a loop. So that's going to be for I from 0 and I all the way to 6, and I need to increment it every time. And here I need to compute the offset first of all. So I want the offsets to be, let's say 0.15, 0.16, 16, and then I'm going to have 0.23, 0.24, then I'm going to have 0.31, 0.32. So 16, 24, 32 are multiples of 8, so that's going to be 0.08 times. So that's 2, 3, 4, and I'm going here 0, 1, 2. So that's going to be 2 plus, and it's going to be I over 2, and I'm going to need to floor this, and I'm going to need to subtract depending on I modulo 2. So actually that's going to be I plus 1 modulo 2 times 0.01. Okay, and then I'm going to have the alpha, and this alpha is going to be 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0. So this is going to be I plus 1 over 2, and I'm going to floor this, and after I've done this I'm doing modulo 2. So now I'm going to have a stop, and stop color is going to be current color, and then I'm going to have stop opacity is going to be that alpha, and then I'm going to have the offset, and now I need to set this gradient as the fill for my star shape. So I'm going to have star shape fill URL and that radial gradient. So this works, so it means I can now switch to the last one, so that's going to be at 63. Now I need to draw this cloud, so let's get opacity down to 0, and here I'm going to have another path. So this is going to be pretty much the same, except I need to duplicate this one more time, and I'm going to have, let's add up stuff here. So let's say 20, 30, 15. It's probably not going to work like this. And one more thing I want to do, because I'm going to see it better if I make the stroke width, I make it smaller. So let's go back to this here. So I'm going to have 5, then 6, then 7, and I'm going to start here. I'm going to start minus 30 something. This is going to be a plus. Actually it needs to be a higher, I don't know, 29. Let's make it like this. Let's move this a bit. Okay, and this is going to go a bit to the right, and it's going to go a lot up, but probably not that much. And it's going to go the other way. Okay, let's make this 40 actually. And I think it works pretty well this way. Now the next one is going to need to go a lot to the right, and it's going to go a bit down, so let's say something like 10. It doesn't go that much to the right, something like this, maybe better. Something like that works. I need a different radius though, a smaller radius, 29, maybe this works better. 29.5. No, 28.5. No, 29. Just leave it at 29. And I need to actually I need to tweak this a bit. I think it 55.5. I think that looks. Why did that mess up things? Just leave it 56. Okay, just leave it at that. Now I'm going to do something. This is going to be something like 10 and 13. This should look. It actually looks perfect this way. I'm not going to tweak anything. Actually, maybe just make this 9. But it's perfect the way it is. I'm not tweaking anything else. So now I'm done with this part. I'm just going to remove these opacities here. Just replace them with nothing. And once I've done this, I'm going to change the stroke here back to 10. And I'm going to loop here within the states. Actually, I'm going to remove this box shadow. And I'm going to have for I from 0 to n, number of states, nth child, and I'm going to set a different background, I plus 1, and this is going to be background, and it's going to be nth I plus 1, this is the index, so the list is going to be map get So this is it, and here I'm also going to set overflow hidden. Okay, so this works nicely here, and now I'm going to set an animation which is going to be an order animation. So keyframes order, and I'm going to animate a Z index here, and it's going to be for 0 and 90% is going to be a Z index 1, and 15% is going to be Z index 0. And now I'm going to set a steps animation here, order, and this is going to have a duration of t, and I need to set this t. So I have 0.04 seconds delay, which means that let's remove the background from here, which means that I'm going to have an animation duration of almost 4 seconds. So let's say 4 seconds. Let's collapse this, and now I go to here, and it's going to be infinite, and here I'm going to set an animation delay, and this is going to be I times t over n, and this should work. Okay, this should be steps. That's why. Steps 1. And now it should work just fine. Okay, it's perfect like this. Now I'm going to set a clipping animation. So this is going to be 25%, 100%, and this is going to be 25. And here I'm going to have clip path 50%. Oh, circle. Okay, and here it's going to be similar, except it's going to be at some x and y values. So x and y. And these x and y values, we're going to define them as 50% at first. So x is going to be 50%, y is going to be 50%, and here within the loop we're going to set them differently. So I'm going to have a j here, which is going to be I modulo 2, and I'm going to have a k, which is going to be I over 2 and floor of that. So floor of I over 2, and here if j is greater than 0, then I'm going to set x, and it's going to be 50%, actually minus power of -1 to k, so -1 to power k, times 105, or anything slightly bigger than 100%, and it's pretty much the same if j, actually I'm going to do an else here. So this is going to be y, and here I'm going to have plus, and here I'm going to have a second animation that's going to be clip, and it's going to be the same duration, and it's also going to be infinite. So something, do I need to set it at 50%, 50%? Oh, I've set the same thing. Clip. Okay. Okay, this works. So I probably don't need this. No, I don't. It works just fine this way. And now I'm also going to have a background animation. So this background animation is going to be on the body, and I'm going to have keyframes, background, and this is going to be within a loop. So I'm going to have for I from 0 to n, and I'm going to generate the keyframes here, and it's going to be I times 25%, and then again the same thing, only I'm going to add 15%, and it's going to be background, and it's going to be pretty much the same as I have in here, except it's going to be the light thing, not the dark. So it's going to be light. So let's put it. And I'm going to set this animation here. So yeah, this is it. I hope you've enjoyed this demo, and if you have any other ideas for other demos, just drop them in the comments or send them on Twitter. And until next time.